in October. We had to wait for the authorization from the Attorney General. That came through just recently. Last week, the Selectmen approved the first list of members of the Youth Services Committee. The list is Mark Hall, Judy Hall, myself, Christine Fisher, Kathy Dardino, Joanne Pawlowski, Robin DiPaolito, Michael Cudya, Ed Santasuezo, Kathleen Walsh, and Tracy Helms. As I said, our first scheduled meeting is tomorrow at 7 p.m. room 5 in the Town Hall. We do have a little progress to announce. The Town Car Park staff has graciously offered the Youth Services Committee for our first hire for our Youth Services Director office space in Town Hall. And we haven't quite raised the $600,000 for Martin's Pond, which is breathtaking, but today we received $50,000 from the local fundraising group in town, which will establish the revolving fund to pay the Youth Services Director in North Reading for the first year. That money is now with the town administrator. And our first order of business is to hire a Youth Services Director, and we'll get right on that tomorrow. And that person will soon be making a contribution to the welfare of the young people of this town. It's an exciting time. I look forward to it, and I thank everyone in town for their support.
Thank you, Giles. Any other board or committee wishing to give a report? We have a motion. You've heard some reports. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Mr. Rob.
I have a question. I think this would come under reports. Can we have a report from the Finance Committee as to what is actually on our tax bill now and what is coming up that is actually part of the override that we've already approved, and the buildings we've done that's not on our actually on our tax rate right now, what they are and when they will become due? Would that be done as part of the Finance Committee report?
Mr. Master, please. That is you, right? Okay. I just didn't recognize.
We have a report in the warrant. We don't have that information in that report. We could surely have something put together for our, looks like we'll adjourn this meeting to April 30th to discuss financial matters at that time. We can have something ready for that meeting.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Article 3, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the Department of Public Works to accept easements on behalf of the town as specified in Article 3 as printed in the warrant.
We have the motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Massachusetts.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee recommends.
Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Harris.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, the Board of Selectmen recommends.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Article 4, Mr. Messeri.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the treasurer to enter into compensating balance agreements as specified in Article 4 as printed in the warrant.
We have the motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee unanimously recommends this article.
Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation?
Recommend.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Article 5, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Moderator, I move to appropriate such sum as may be allotted from the Chapter 90 apportionment for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, or maintaining roadways within the town of North Reading as specified in Article 5 as printed in the warrant.
I have a motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Mastacuso.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee unanimously recommends.
Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation. Mr. Harris.
Mr. Moderator, the Board of Selectmen recommends.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Article 6, Mr. Gardino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to reauthorize the Conservation Revolving Fund as voted in Article 20, Revolving Funds, Wetlands Protection in the April 1992 town meeting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, and to set the maximum expenditure for fiscal year 2008 at $100,000 as specified in Article 6 as printed in the warrant, and that any wetland filing fees collected be deposited into said fund and expended to meet the expenses of the Conservation Commission's programs.
I have a motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Mastacuso.
The Finance Committee has unanimously voted to recommend this article.
Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Gardino.
The Board of Selectmen unanimously recommends.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Article 7, Mr. Gardino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to reauthorize the Parks and Recreation Revolving Fund originally authorized under Article 222 of the October 1997 town meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, and to set the maximum expenditures for fiscal year 2008 at $237,490 as specified in Article 7 as printed in the warrant, and that any fees collected be deposited into said fund and expended to meet the expenses of the Park and Recreation Committee's programs.
We have a motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Westerfeld.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee recommends.
The Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation.
The Board of Selectmen recommend.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Article 8, Mr. Gardino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to reauthorize the Damon Tavern revolving account originally authorized under Article 17 of the April 2002 town meeting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, and to set the maximum expenditure for fiscal year 2008 at $35,000 as specified in Article 8 as printed in the warrant, and that any fees collected be deposited into the said fund and expended to meet the program's expenses.
We have a motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation?
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee recommends.
Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation?
The Board of Selectmen recommend.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous? Opposed? Now it's unanimous. Article 9, Mr. Gardino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to reauthorize the Rain Barrel revolving account originally authorized under Article 17 of the October 2003 town meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, and to set the maximum expenditure for fiscal year 2008 at $1,941 as specified in Article 9 as printed in the warrant, and that any fees collected be deposited into said fund and expended to meet the program's expenses.
I have a motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
The Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation.
The Board of Selectmen recommend.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Article 10, Mr. Dardino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the special election revolving account originally authorized under Article 18 of the October 2003 town meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, and to set the maximum expenditure for fiscal year 2008 at $264,870, as specified in Article 10, as printed in the warrant, and that any fees collected be deposited into said fund and expended to meet the program's expenses.
We have a motion. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Mastacusa.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee unanimously recommends this article.
Does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation?
The Board of Selectmen recommend.
Does the School Committee wish to make a recommendation?
Yes, the school committee recommends.
Discussion. Could you please go to the microphone, name and address for the record, please?
Ron Morocco, One Heritage Way. My question on each of these is there a way to tell in 2007 what the actual budget expenditure was before we approved what the capital will be in 2008? Is that available to us in these documents? Can you just indicate where that might be found?
We'll wait a moment until someone jumps up with the Mr. Gardino.
The year hasn't ended yet, so we don't have a final budget for 2007. The year for 2006 would be the town report, is that right?
We should have an actual budget cap for 2007 that was set that we can compare to 2008 anticipated. That's what I'm looking for, is the cap set. Otherwise, we can't judge these numbers in any context.
You're capping the expenditure at $264,870, and he's looking for an explanation as to why you capped it at $264,870 and what prior year's numbers were.
I mean, the same question really relates to 4 or 5 prior articles that were approved, but period.
Mr. Wood? Oh, okay. We'll wait then. I think no one has an answer. I think the good news is they capped it. There's a maximum, they've capped it at a maximum expenditure. How they came up with that number, they don't seem to know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's inadequate. We need full information, full disclosure here in order to make informed decisions.
Mr. Jerry.
The item specifically on the floor right now is the special ed. It's based on our estimates of what the caseload is going to be and what we will be entitled to recover from the state by the state's rules next year. And it is based on our actual caseload of special education students. The other revolving funds have nothing to do with state reimbursements, and I'm not going to try to address those.
So you put it in context of 2007? That's the question.
I don't have a 2007 number for you, but those numbers vary dramatically depending on the actual caseload, what the specific instances are of children who have conditions that entitle us to reimbursements from the state. And then